Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to learn algebra. Today is our lesson number 152. Day 152, we are in the process of doing word problems from day 101 through 200. Today is our 52nd day. Let's see what we have for today. Here's the question for today. What is the sum of three consecutive numbers if A is the least of the three numbers? What is the sum of the three consecutive numbers if A is the least of the three numbers? Well, here's the solution. Now, if you wish, you can always obviously stop the video at this point. This is a good point to stop the video, solve the problem yourself, and then continue and compare your work with the work that we're going to do together. That's the best way to go about it, instead of sitting there and simply watching it. So do it yourself and then compare it. Here's the solution. We are told that A is the least, and we are told that they're consecutive numbers. Consecutive means one after the other, and there are three of them, and A is the smallest one. So if A is the least, if A is the least one, that implies then the next one would have to be one more than A, or A plus 1. Stands to reason. If A is 7, and since they're consecutive, then if A equals 7, the next one would have to be 8, and one after that would have to be 9. If A happens to be 11, the next one would have to be 12, and the one after that 13. If A happens to be negative 9, the one after that would have to be, well, I put down the answer already. I was going to put negative 9 plus 1. But the one after that would have to be negative 9 plus 1, which is negative 8, and so forth. It's just one after the least one. That's what it says. The next one would have to be one more than A, and also implies the one after would have to be one more than this guy. In other words, A plus 1 or A plus 2. We are told that their sum is, we simply ask what is their sum. Well, that's very straightforward. Therefore their sum would have to equal the first guy, which is A, the least of them, which is A, the next guy, which is one more than that, A plus 1, and the greatest one, which comes last among the three, A plus 2. That's all. That's their sum. The only thing that is left here is to simplify this expression. We cannot leave it like this. This is not how it's done. In the tradition of algebra, the custom dictates that if the expression can be simplified, it must be simplified. This expression here, the way we have written here is an equation because it has an equal sign in it. But if I were to take away this part, this is called an expression. This expression represents the sum of the three numbers. If that expression can be simplified, then it must be. Let's do it. We have one A, we have another A here, we have another A here. So we have three A's, A, and A. And then we have 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. Voila, that is the sum. Let's call their sum S, okay? Just to keep it simple. Let's call it S. Are we done? Not quite. It's still not simplified. It must be presented in this most simplified form. It is not simplified yet. We have two terms here, 3a and 3. Do you find any common factors among these two? 3a and 3, which is same as 3 times 1. Well, we see a 3 here and a 3 here. That 3 has to be taken out common. That 3 must be taken out common. And once we take out common, from this part here, we have taken out 3. 3a divided by 3 leaves us with a. Plus 3 times 1 divided by 3. 3 times 1 divided by 3 leaves us with 1. In other words, if we were to open the parenthesis, we should be able to go back to 3a plus 3. See, 3 times a is 3a, and 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times a is 3a, and 3 times 1 is 3. So the final answer is, what is their sum? What is their sum? The answer is their sum is 3 times a plus 1. 3 times a plus 1. Let's verify our answer. Let's verify our answer, make sure that we have gotten actually the right answer, that we have not made any silly error. Let's verify it. How do we verify it? Like we always do, like we do every day, by plugging in numbers and see what the arithmetic tells us and see what our algebra tells us, and they should tell us the same thing. They should agree with each other, because arithmetic is algebra, where we know the values of the variable, or converse is also true. Algebra is arithmetic. Algebra is arithmetic in abstract numbers. Instead of 3, 4, and 5, we have a plus 1, and a plus 2. That's what it is. Let's verify it. I need the room, of course, so we need to erase everything. And that's all there is. So I'm going to leave the question alone. Let's verify. Let's verify our answer by plugging in. Let's pretend that a equals, what do you want to plug in for a? You can plug in anything you want. What do you want to plug in? What did I plug in my work here? Let's pretend that a is 5. If a is 5, then the one after that, because they're consecutive, would have to be 6, and one after that would have to be 7. And of course, you will see immediately that 5 plus 6 plus 7 should simply be 3 times 6, because this guy is 1 more than 6 and this guy is 1 less than 6. So you take away 1 from this guy, 7, and give it to 5, then 5 will become, in other words, if you were to take away 1 from this guy and give it to this guy, all of a sudden everybody is 6, and 3 times 6 is 18. The sum of the three numbers is 18. Or if you don't want to make such a fuss about it, like I just did, and if you simply want to add it up in the traditional way, we can do that too. 5 plus 6 is 11, and 11 plus 7 is 18. That tells us that the answer better be 18. Answer better be 18. This answer better give us 18 if we were to plug in a equals 5 in this thing. Let's see if it does. 3 times 5 plus 1. Hey, what do you know? 5 plus 1 is 6, times 3 is 18. It is in fact the right answer. That's all. That's it. We're done with it. We can get rid of it. Alright? You want to do one more? Let's do one more then. Here's a new problem for you. Here's a new problem. What is the product of three consecutive number if a is the least? Very simple, very straightforward. We already know what those numbers are, so we're not going to spend our time talking about it again. If a is the least, the one after is got to be a plus 1, and one after that is got to be a plus 2. That's all. Can we leave this answer in this form? Well, it all depends. It all depends on what's going on. If it's a multiple choice exam, if you're sitting there and taking SAT or GRE or GMAT and this question pops up, at this point you can look at the answer choices, and if one of the answer choices looks exactly like this, and then you're done. But most likely that will not be the case. Most likely this is called factorized form. These are three factors. A is a factor. For example, if A is 5, then this is 5 times 6 times 7. These are three factors. It's written in this factorized form. It could be written like that, or it could be written in a polynomial form. In a polynomial form. In other words, a whole bunch of terms. For example, this has one term. This guy now, a plus b, this expression has two terms. It is called a binomial. And then of course polynomial means many terms. We will end up with an expression with three terms in it, but we have to do it. So let's first do it here. Let's show it in the form that might be expected from you. So we have to do it here. A times a is a squared. A times 2 is 2a. Now let's take care of 1. 1 times a is just 1a. 1 times 2 is 2. And I'm not worried about the sign. I did not mention any signs at all because they're all positive. And then outside the whole thing is we have a. We'll worry about that in a second. Let's simplify this guy. So this a squared comes down, and here we have 2a and an a that gives us 3a plus 2. And then outside we have a. Now we go one more round. A times a squared gives us a cubed. A times 3a gives us 3a squared. And finally, a times 2 gives us 2a. The correct answer in the exam may be presented like this. So as soon as you see the answer choices and you see answer choices containing some variable raised to the third power, you know that they're not looking for something like this. Because here you will get third power, because eventually this a is going to be multiplied by this a, and then the product is going to be multiplied by that a, and you'll end up with a cubed with the coefficient of 1, because this has a coefficient of 1, this has a coefficient of 1, and this has a coefficient of 1. So 1 times 1 times 1 is going to remain 1. So it is a cubed. It has to be presented like this. A cubed plus 3a squared plus 2a. I want to verify that answer. I want to make sure this answer is correct. And since there is only one a cubed, we don't have to write down the 1. It's not necessary. I want to verify this answer. Make sure it is in fact the correct answer. Let's plug in number and let's verify it, okay? Let's pretend that our a equals 5. A equals 5. So then the product would be 5 times 6 times 7. That will be the product of three consecutive numbers if a is the least one. 5 times 6 is 30. 30 times 7, well, I don't know what 30 times 7 is, but I know 3 times 7 is 21. So 30 times 7, you just stick a 0 at the end. And if you did not understand what I just said, just rewind it, watch it again. See? This is 30 times 7. 3 times 7 is 21. And then you stick a 0. So the answer is 210. This bloody thing better give us the 210 that we are looking for. So a cubed, our a is 5, so 5 cubed plus 3 times 5 squared plus 2 times 5. Let's see what it gives us. I hope so. I hope it gives 210. 5 cubed. 5 times 5 is 25, and 5 25s are 125. I know that because 4 25s I know are 100. 5 25 must be 125. 5 squared is 25, and 3 of them will make it 75. Oh, that's a good sign. 75 plus 125 is 200, and here's your 10. $125 plus 75 is 200, plus 10 more will make it 200, which is what our arithmetic tells us. So that in fact is the right answer. Right? I'll see you tomorrow on day number 153. Okay? Bye now.